8:59.
8:59, perfect. Call the meeting to order. Everyone is here, that's the good news. Approval of the agenda. We worked so hard. I did, so much.
We did.
Anybody have comments?
I have a request.
Yes.
What do you all think about number 5, discuss items from packet updates? It seems to be irrelevant for our business.
It does a little bit. I wondered about that.
Sometimes it is. It's
Should we
usually
just
something
remove
that's listed within. There have been a couple times when it's not been, but typically it is something that's listed, so we just.
What was it? Discuss what?
Number
on
5.
Number
discuss
5.
items.
Oh,
It just
okay,
doesn't
okay.
ever, I mean, when we have packet attachments,
Yeah.
They're usually included
they're
in
gone,
new
we
business.
get through them.
And
in
if
the
not, they
business.
could be discussed under items from staff,
Yeah.
probably, or.
Yeah, and it seems to us when we're approving the agenda, we'd discuss any packet updates with them, so.
Does it have to be there? I mean,
Yeah, can we just remove that
That's
without having that as a,
It's
Yeah,
fine.
we
can
can
just
strike it.
Seems redundant.
let's time it in.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Okay, I make a motion that we remove item number 5 and just shift items from the agenda forward because it's a redundant item.
Can I get a second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, that's approved.
I have another suggestion
Yes, ma'am.
related to that. I had been doing roll call / approval of agenda, and then it got separated out again.
Yeah,
So I don't know what the better way is. It just seems like approval of agenda is just a minor little thing, but.
yeah, well, I separated it out because it was kind of getting missed,
Yeah.
to like officially approve the agenda.
Okay,
So that was why I separated it out, because we were supposed to be doing that, but if we,
it's no big deal.
Well, it
It's
is
just-
2 separate things.
It is, yeah. It started that way.
yeah, okay.
Right, okay. So we'll just leave it as is then. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yep, all right. Approval of previous month's minutes. Anybody have any comment? I thought they looked great.
Yeah, me too.
Well,
I didn't do them.
I know. Exactly.
Go out with a bang.
Yeah, anybody? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll
And
second.
All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, minutes are approved.
And I wanna
Yay.
thank Candace for being
Yes.
secretary. That's
We
what
can
I
sign that.
You're welcome. Yes. Thank you, Candace, for doing that.
Yeah, thank you.
Quick shout out.
We did.
There's
Oh, when was he born?
a week ago Monday.
Yeah. Oh, by the way,
He's got
what did
hair.
you say his name is?
Wayne.
Wayne.
Reed.
Wayne Reed.
Which is for you to say.
She said she was telling us about
Oh,
10,
God,
but
he's
I'm just
adorable.
like,
Can she bring him?
Right.
Wow.
she's pretty gosh darn
Wayne
close.
Reed.
11 ounces. Real
That's
close.
That's a great name. It's something so sweet. I want her to bring him. Maybe next month. Okay, public invited to be heard. We don't have any public, so we can scratch that. We don't have item number 5 anymore. We'll go right directly to old business, the digitized scrapbook. How we coming?
The first scrapbook is digitized.
Wow.
Well, I should say it's scanned.
It's scanned.
It's scanned.
Yeah.
So then the next step is to go through the process of making it accessible and getting it posted and all of that. So we're going to go through the full process with the original scrap. And when I say original, it's the one that was kind of redone, but it's the early years Callahan. So not the one from 1938. It's the smaller, like early years one. So it's been all scanned. It was actually a really easy process. I think it's like a 1 to 2 person job. So we can kind of think about setting up shifts for that. Once we go through the whole process with this one and just make sure that it is doable for all of them moving forward, and I think that should be.
Well, did you say you're gonna take a regular size one now to do it? I wasn't getting. You did a small one.
It's a thinner one, yeah. And also, speaking of the size, it was able to be 12 by 12, so that's nice. So nothing had to be cut off. So yeah, that's exciting. But that was kind of the easy part, to be honest.
We're gonna put it on script, like a scribit thing.
What is,
That's.
it's meant
if
to
you
go on the
talk to
website.
Swan about it,
Okay,
that's where you don't have to download it.
okay.
You can actually just be on there.
Just link to it, or,
It doesn't, it's there, it actually exists there, you can just look at pages.
okay,
That's how we do the
Scribit?
brochure. And we also will have, you can also download it too.
okay,
Well, nice.
yeah.
Well, thank you, and I'm sorry that I had wanted to come, but my schedule just wouldn't allow.
No, I think it actually worked out well for me just to do the first one so I could learn the process, and that way I can
Without anybody being.
pass that on. Well, no, but just,
Well, no,
But
in
you
the
know,
way.
to work
at
at
the
meetings
extra
and then,
opinions.
Extra opinions,
You
extra
know.
comments, yeah.
so, but that really was the easy part. I think the harder part will be making it ADA accessible and getting on the website, but we'll
Okay.
go through that and then we'll do the rest of them then, so.
Oh, I'm very excited.
Alright,
Very
Yeah.
excited.
So are you going to set a schedule or?
Yeah, I think, well, my plan was to go through the process of getting this one completely done.
Take this all the way through the
And,
process.
yeah, so we know what that looks like,
I see.
and then pass that on to you all to
Mhm.
do the rest.
So maybe set a schedule next month.
Yeah, I think once I figure out the rest of the process for this one, and then we can set up a schedule to have you all do the scanning.
So it
There's
could
not a
be
big rush
other
about it.
pieces,
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
that we've
but-
started the process, this is huge.
Yeah,
Yes, it
and
is.
it
It's
looks,
huge.
it looks good, and it's nice that the styling actually works too. Didn't have to turn anything, so,
And I'd
yeah.
really like Ben's suggestion for being able to just pull it up and look at it. as
Yeah.
opposed to down there.
It'd be easier, not
Yeah.
so much page loading and
Please,
stuff,
people will
so,
do that.
yeah.
As we
Yeah.
do the books, are we going to consider submitting these albums to be stored in the library? I mean, in the archives. of the
Archives, yeah, I
museums?
think, yeah, I kind of, initiated that we were interested in that with Elizabeth, who's the new director of history there, so I think that's definitely something we can continue to look into and see what's appropriate for them to keep there
I
and
think it'd be someplace
for us to keep here, so.
Do we know what we already have archived?
I don't, I know there are items there, but.
I know what's in there.
I bet she does, yeah, she's been through them.
Ask our historian here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There are a lot of photos that are in archives. There are
in
a lot
fact, some of the ones in the
newspaper
scrapbook
articles
are copies of those.
in the archives.
Yeah.
And is
That
it
he
because,
he's created online
Content?
no, it's rather, well, there are some negatives in the archives, and then for photos that there are not negatives, they are electronically scanned in, so those are now part of that file as well. So like a picture of Main Street where the Golden Rule store was, that's scanned in, and that's electronically in there, there's some.
my question I guess is, are those things that Eric archived regarding Callahan House? Or are those things that the Callahan Board gave to them to archive?
I think it's
Because I
a mixture
think
of
we did.
both. I think it's a mixture of both. Because there are things that's clear that it came from someone from Callahan, from the board.
Okay.
And then there are others that are common, that could have been pulled from Times Call. A lot of times that's what is there, so.
Seems like a lot of the source material for the scrapbooks, the actual originals, are maybe in archives, and some of the things in there are copies
Not
from the
necessarily.
early years.
Not necessarily. The list of all of the guests from the very first open house, that
Yeah.
original is in the scrapbook.
Photos
And
though,
the museum
and
does not have that,
articles.
but most, not all.
Okay, so, but do we have to start with some, applying to submit, to archive these items into the,
I'm not sure about the process, but
I wanna go-
Elizabeth was the one that, connected us to get some of this stuff and whatnot, so
You might
she's certainly aware of the project.
Yeah, you might want to just double check on it, but the process as I understand it to be, from what Eric explained it to me, is that we would submit, it's that says what the items are, and that then gets put before the museum board. And they determine, along with the help of the curator, what, if any, of that content's already in the archives, and then what is remaining, if any of it they think is important enough that it should be archived.
Sure.
So they kind of make that determination.
Okay.
Interesting, how do that. Okay, any other questions on this digitized scrapbook? Okay, we will move on to the Founders Day program. Would you like to report on that?
Very well.
Okay.
All the ladies really enjoyed it. Maureen dressed up, which was
Oh, I'm so
wonderful.
glad you did that.
And yes, they all appreciated all the content and lots of fun buzz afterward. And
Nobody volunteered for
Candy
the board?
I did put that out.
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
as something. For
They did a very nice job. I was in attendance.
Oh, good, because I forgot to go. I'm in the kitchen on the jams at 10:15 going, oops.
They did a
We were
great
looking
job.
for you.
And just a little side note about the ramifications of it. Deborah Buchanan
Yeah.
passed away. Debbie Stafford. Her mom was Carolyn Stafford.
They're having
And
her
she-
memorial here.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And the reason they're having a memorial here is because Lori Flanders, who was instrumental in setting it up, was at PEO that morning. And Deb grew up here, and her mom was a PEO member, and so on and so on. And it was like the light bulb went off in her head when this happened, when Deb passed
Exactly.
away. It's like,
So Lori said,
this
why
is
would we
where a
not?
fitting place for.
Well, I think they had their wedding reception here also.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is she a member of the PEO? Is that
Yeah, she
connection?
was.
Okay.
Deb, I don't
Deb,
believe
yeah,
Deb
she was a
but-
member of my chapter.
What, Debbie was?
Mhm.
Oh, really?
But she was a non-resident member.
Oh, I know Carolyn was, but I didn't know
Yeah,
Deb
Debbie
was.
was.
Okay. So,
The only comment when I went to PEO Monday night and asked, so what you guys think of the program? Because I wanted to hear from them. They loved it, but they said that a lot of times they couldn't hear. So I don't know if it was a setup from the microphones or what. They said it was tough to hear.
And I did hear a request that maybe more pictures are included,
Oh,
that they were interested in seeing more pictures.
well then they
Well,
need to
that's
come to the
I'd be interested to hear what pictures they're looking for, because the pictures that were included were pretty comprehensive. I definitely could add more.
But hearing feedback's
but-
really good.
Yeah.
But
So,
I really
but
thought
trying
that
to
was
keep it to that 30-minute.
Right,
that's tough.
Was like, okay, I need to
That's the
probably
hard part.
capture just kind of the overall, you know.
And I have to compliment Karen, did an amazing job in all the history of it. And-
Yes, and this is, boy, she sure knew her stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So good job, girls.
Good job. Okay, on to the, excuse me, the update.
I'm
Oh,
sorry,
yes.
before we move on,
Yes.
Karen did take some pictures with EDK and some other things that I
Oh,
think
good.
we should, I'm sure you're going to add into everything as the historian of the PEO.
If we want that included in the scrapbook,
Yeah.
we can.
Yeah, that's good.
I
Is
think
that
that's
an
good.
acceptable thing to
It's
do?
something that's outreach to the community.
That was the group of the
Yes.
group, or
No, it just included Candy as a member there, EDK also as a member there, Maureen and myself.
I think it's important,
It's just a
and
picture
then
for
it
us.
also shows our outreach into the community, and
Exactly.
it's
It's a
another
document.
tie-in documentation. So I'm sorry to interrupt.
That's
What
great.
is the process for, or what is, I guess, the thought for the process for updating the scrapbooks going forward? Do you do that like on an annual basis, or just as material is
As events
existing, or?
throughout the year, as events are occurring, adding to it is the ideal
It's the easiest
Yeah.
way.
approach.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, and are you like a head of committee for that, or?
well,
or
that's
how
my
does
job
that
as
work?
historian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's the historian.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I
So,
mean,
I
but if
guess-
anyone's interested in helping, I'm all for
Yeah.
an additional, extra hands because
Yeah.
But things
Many,
like the
many hands
Valentine's tea and
Right.
things like that should be it.
Well, so I guess I'm just wondering, like, do you just reach out when you want to make updates, or like, what works for you for
okay.
that process,
Well, if that is
or we can
good,
talk more about it, but.
yeah, I was gonna say if that would work, I could do that. Just kind of do a touch base with everyone, and say, all right, I'm planning to do
That'd
a
be
scrap
wonderful.
update, and if you want to come and participate, and then we can meet at the house and.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just let me know.
Okay. Moving on.
Sorry.
Item C, updated video.
So I don't have anything to review, but I do have an update at least.
Great.
So hopefully by next month there'll be like actually what's gonna be going out to anybody that wants to, or anybody that we're gonna ask for a quote from. So I went through the process with Pam Roding, who orchestrated some of this within the city. And it's actually going to be fairly simple. Basically, we don't have to go through a full bidding process, but we do need to get 3 quotes still
Okay.
from some other potentially interested parties. And basically, we just let them know here's what we want. And just as long as we provide the same information to everybody, it's a pretty simple process. So I'll probably have that.
Do we know when that's gonna be released?
I think it can be, I mean, I can do that anytime as soon as I have the time, which now it's kind of right on the cusp of having that ready to go.
I know that I was reached back out to because one of the issues was my daughter, obviously, and her partner, business partner, we're considering like working on videos on the interior, so they're not impeding with wedding schedules and
Okay.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
That would be something if they're going to do it, if
Yeah.
they're chosen. That's
think
one
we
of those
can-
things that,
have it ready to be, bring it to the next board meeting and say, yeah, this looks good. And we'll put it
So
out.
they were asking me when the date was, and I said, I haven't heard anything.
Well, tell them early March.
Early March, thank you.
Excellent. So we can talk about that at next meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any other questions about that? We'll move on to the item D, club affair. We're meeting tomorrow?
We do have a meeting scheduled from 11 to 1, I believe. Refresh my memory, why did we schedule it at 11?
Initially, it's because I normally have Questers on that day, but we could actually move it forward because Questers was last week.
Oh, okay, all right.
So.
So how does everyone feel about that? And are we doing just the 3 of us?
Well, I
Yeah.
now can do
Cheers.
it because I canceled the event.
Oh, okay. So it includes all of us then,
All of us?
that are
That's
interested?
fine.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay,
I do have
I'm
Bible
not-
study from 9:30 to 10:30.
okay. Oh, you do, okay. So
So
10:30 is
10:30
yours, we can change it.
I can get here by 10:30-ish.
Okay,
10:30?
10:30, that'd be all right?
Okay.
Yeah.
No?
I won't be there, sorry.
She's not gonna be there.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, so,
I'm sure you're
You can dodge out of something.
I was gonna say, I hope I get a little pass on this one.
Exactly.
I think, but yeah,
I think you should.
hall pass definitely.
Okay, so we'll meet tomorrow at
yes,
10:30.
10:30 tomorrow, yes. And, excuse me. So what I was gonna suggest that we all come with in our heads is, first of all, clubs or organizations that we've thought about inviting, that we also come with out-of-the-box thinking about how to use not just the house, but in August, it should be nice outside. And if the possibility exists that we could use the outside exterior gardens and the carriage house, that expands our number of people that we can reach out to as far as clubs are concerned and groups are concerned. It doesn't have to be a club, so to speak, like the symphony orchestra.
Mhm.
I mean, think in terms of what other groups could we
Include.
approach. And this is a twofold thing. We not only have to find groups that wanna participate as our fundraiser, but then we have to find and get the public here to participate. So
Together,
there's-
there's,
It's a
two
two-pronged thing that we have to do, so keep that in mind and kind of think outside of the box about what groups can we have? The symphony playing in the gardens, can we have plein air painters out there painting? Can we have dancing groups? Can we have theater companies? What can we do? Okay.
I think we had talked about, was it August 17th or something as a date? And the reason I asked is because if it is gonna be a larger event with public, wanting to join the, well, I guess, does that fall right on the cusp of the brochure, Ben? Might that go in the next brochure? The date is August 17th. I'd have to look at the sheet upstairs.
Yeah, it comes out first week of August, which is perfect, the 2 week advance.
Okay, so this would be for the next brochure, so we don't have to have it set for February 20th.
That would be pretty early, but you could do a save the date thing in there.
Okay. Okay.
Well, that would be great.
Let's do that just because,
It might depend on room,
right?
because we have other things to
Right, exactly
advertise in
what's
there,
going
so,
on, right?
okay.
Yeah,
Is that
if you stick
date,
with a save the date blurb, it would be pretty easy, usually.
okay, is that
So-
date firm though, I guess, is the question, and it has, and the summer brochure that goes through July, where the save the date would go would be, I need it by, like, Friday. So-
Well, we do have to,
If
we have
that
to,
date's not,
we just have
firm.
to decide the time.
or I guess Tuesday, maybe by Tuesday.
And it's on, should have any weddings or something that are competing for.
Well, I mean, we would just keep that, let's see,
What date is
Here
it?
on Sunday, but not on Saturday.
August 17th. So that is a Saturday,
Yeah.
but I mean, we just wouldn't book a wedding then if we're gonna book that date, but I think that was the date, I'm not sure if that was the date that we talked about.
Are you worried that
That's
that
from last
might
month.
be an issue? Do we need to like back it up to the 16th, a Friday?
I think let's do it on a day that feels like more people would attend, so
More
maybe a
likely
Sunday.
Saturday's more likely.
More likely Saturday. I think a Saturday is the best choice, and I think just blocking that one Saturday off and not having
Yeah, I mean,
weddings that
there's
day is
nothing-
acceptable.
Don't forget Mary
Booked right now, so.
Newsletter goes out, that'll have this board, what's it called again?
There's a
Just the
quarterly
recreation
recreation
brochure.
brochure. Yeah, it's a quarterly
City
recreation
It's
or
three-
seasonal.
three-
I mean,
it's 3 times a year.
oh,
Winter, spring, summer, and fall. Winter, spring is one thing.
okay.
Okay.
That's awesome that we can reach,
Yeah, it is.
far reaching with
Yeah.
that.
So it would be
It's the
going
season.
in the summer, but
Well,
wait,
But
Details
Potentially
in the fall one.
yeah, save the date in the summer one that talks about stuff through, I don't know,
I think
beginning of
it's good
August.
timing with school starting and everybody going. I think that would be a great Saturday. I think yes, I know we could lose revenue, but Saturday is the best time, and I honestly think it's a perfect date for the 17th. It just falls timing wise really well.
Is this event something that potentially brings in revenue at the event itself, or just the potential of more
We're
folks
hoping
bringing in
that it'll
revenue?
be revenue making.
Right, it should be revenue
Okay.
generated because they would have to pay for
The booth.
Table.
their booth, their table, their space, whatever.
Okay,
So we'll have to
It's not
also
big bucks.
set those
But-
prices.
yeah, we're not
Yeah.
spending money to
Right.
have the event, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, well, yeah, so if we can have the date, well, typically it's like date time. Yeah, I guess just a date
I
would be
think
enough
for-
for a save the date.
Yeah, I was gonna say for the save the date, all you're doing is save the date,
Yeah.
August 17th at the Callahan House Club A Fair.
So if that
More details to come.
is a firm date, I think we could potentially get a save the date in the summer brochure, and then we'll have a bigger blurb on it in the next one.
I'd like to move that we choose August 17th as the permanent, not as permanent, but as the date for this year's event for the club affair.
I think we may have already done
I
that.
think
Did
we
we
did.
do that? Didn't we?
That's why it's in the minutes
That way
we
too.
were
Was that
thinking-
for sure the date?
That's why we
Because I
were,
read
Didn't we, or we
Yeah.
We've
redoing?
kind of.
I know we
Yes,
talked about it.
it's in the minutes.
So,
Event will be held
So
August
good.
There it is.
17th.
Then
Yeah,
never
okay.
mind. I recall that, I'll just take that right off the table if it's already
Yes,
set.
it is here, so we don't need to go any further.
So
Just
I think it's perfect because
reaffirm.
it hits everybody's, right as they're going out into the fall. It would hit the concerts or anything that people wanna promote on their own. It's perfect.
Would it be possible to also get a blurb in the, city utility, bill,
yeah,
picture that goes
city
out
line.
with
The city line.
City line, yeah, I mean, those are monthly, so,
Yeah.
Usually it's about 2 months in advance. That's for sure.
okay, yeah.
The more we can advertise it, the better.
And the more people that see it, get it on the
Exactly.
calendar.
Okay, any other questions on club affair? So we'll move on to annual report. Does anybody have anything to add or subtract, or edit, or comment?
I think the only thing that we were waiting on were the final numbers.
Just
which
the
are
numbers,
here
which
now,
you
right?
have.
Everything is finalized, if it is approved, then all I need to do is get Ann's signature
Right.
and it's ready to go.
One last thing I thought of that may be a good thing to include in an annual report is identification of the officers. Obviously, the chairperson is clear because that's the person who
Just
signs
sign
it. But for purposes of an annual report, you just identify, okay, here are the board members, and you can even just put it next to the name. Candace Shy, secretary, and.
I think it's a simple enough inclusion.
It just
and-
happen in the, and it won't take another line even, you just slip it in
That's
right
true.
behind their name, so.
And Thompson
behind
slash chair.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So Karen Cruz, historian, Candace Shy, secretary, and Thompson, chairperson, I think it would be appropriate.
I agree.
Anybody else have a comment? Do we need a motion?
No.
Let's just carry on.
Let's
Is that finalized other than that then?
Yes.
Do that.
And
Green
then,
light.
what is the, last year, I know, or what is the process then for, I know that this gets submitted to be part of council's
It's submitted and then hopefully
review at some point, but
presented at city council.
you all presented last year, right? Or somebody did?
No,
No.
but it
Okay.
should be.
Well, I think it's up to them
It's up to
if
the
they can
Whether
fit
they
that
have
in,
time
otherwise
in
it
there.
goes into their packet.
Right, exactly, that's what happened in their packet.
Yeah, work was well.
Okay.
The whole point is to also, this brings attention to our board, and it also promotes us for anybody that's watching it, that people might want to participate in this board, and that, so it's a dual purpose of why we would want it before
Yeah.
council.
Just become more
And-
visible.
We could become more visible and they can ask questions. It's important.
I think it would be nice if council. would
And we can also
entertain that.
pose questions to council.
And they can
You can
ask
talk to
questions of
somebody.
us, they can ask questions of us,
Yeah, that's
they can
exactly
say,
it.
oh, so I read this, and they can ask a question about what's on
Yeah,
there.
part of an interaction.
Mhm.
Okay, anything else on the annual report? We'll move on to house inventory. That was kind of interesting.
I think it's
I've
pretty
never done
fascinating.
that before, it was kind of fun.
I think it's interesting and fun.
Yeah, well, thank you all very much for participating in that. I think the idea was to set another date, if that. is
Do we
okay
not
to-
have one already set on the next Monday? Or was that tentative?
I don't think we
I
said
don't
any,
think we did.
I think we talked about setting a date at this meeting to finish that up.
Isn't it?
And Betsy and Jacqueline were also working on some of it last week, the, butler's pantry and the linens and things like that they have familiarity with that are
Right.
a little more intensive.
Right.
Well, I obviously jumped ahead and remembered this.
Because it's
Sorry.
not in the minutes.
Yeah, I think we were gonna set one today.
Okay.
Okay, so. Is there a suggestion for what date works best for you?
Well, Wednesdays we have clubs in the house, so probably not a Wednesday. Unless if there's a fifth Wednesday in the month, we don't, but, how otherwise I'll just look at the calendar, but Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday is typically more open. I mean, do we wanna look as soon as possible, or?
I think we should, just to get it,
Get complete.
yeah,
Check
check
it
it
off
get
the
it off,
list.
there you go.
So next week, we're out on Monday.
Oh, yeah, it's a holiday.
Yeah, and I don't have the club schedule out, I think. I think Tuesday we have clubs. Yeah. So Tuesday, Wednesday we have clubs, Thursday there's potential, Friday's pretty open, 22nd or 23rd, or we can look to the next week.
I could do the 22nd.
I can get here by around 10:30, it should be.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm out all week of the 19th.
Okay.
I could do the 26th if you mentioned that date.
The 22nd?
26th.
26th.
26th is
Monday.
A Monday.
the next
It's a Monday.
Okay.
That looks good.
I could do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
do
would
that.
be good.
that's fine.
We'll do that, 26th.
I'm available up until like 10:30, the latest. What time would you be starting?
You're available before 10:30?
So
Yeah.
you would start
I
at
don't think
9?
we'd start before 9, but
8:30.
Oh, I can't do 8:30.
Oh,
8:30. I've got physical.
I think 9's fine, and if that doesn't work for you, Cindy,
Yeah, I think
that's
we need
okay.
to leave.
I mean, we appreciate the help, but it's not,
Yeah.
it's certainly not
Yeah.
mandatory, so I would,
So 9 a.m.
February 26th, which is a Monday at 9
okay, thank you.
All right.
I have a question regarding EDK's mom's picture of Callahan House. Was it found?
I don't think I found it specifically. I asked her, I took a picture of the art that's in the manager's office.
Yeah,
And she said, that's not it. She said it's a smaller print, it's a painting, but, and it's, she did this. So sizing that we're looking for is something like this. And I'll follow up with her and ask her if she happens to have like an accidental photo, like it's in the back of, whatever, in the background if they ever got a picture of it.
I had
Well,
looked
so I
around
can get her
for
mom's home.
additional storage spaces also, I mean, prior to this, and hadn't found anything, but
Is there any chance it got packed away with Christmas stuff at some point?
I mean, all the Christmas stuff just got brought out. I had
It's
looked
been brought out.
before Christmas around for it, so.
But I guess
Could that be? It's just not. It's something that will walk off.
At some point, cups and other things were given away.
But why would a photo of this person be
It's not a photo, it's a picture.
painting.
It might not have been being used,
Something's not
considered
fitting where
important.
this is or whatever.
yeah, and we don't need it. And so it was,
Would it be an archive item?
We could look,
That's a good suggestion.
could look back through the scrapbooks
That's very
and
good
see
idea.
if we see. I don't remember ever seeing it in the scrapbooks, but we'll look back through and see if we see it hanging
The painting
somewhere.
From
itself would
talking
be a
to-
museum
to,
archives, is that what you're asking?
from talking to, when we had the managers team, I was discussing with, Leslie Boynton, and it used to hang on the wall right up above the stairs, right outside the office. So maybe we could look in pictures, maybe in that area, to see if we could find it.
Yeah, it would be worth looking, but I don't remember.
Because when I talked to Leslie Boynton, she knew exactly what I was talking
Where it
about.
was,
And where it was.
but where she's describing it is, what was there
And it was
most
removed
recently.
prior
was
to.
the artwork that was moved into the office manager's house and, so. But between now and then, maybe I'll check back in with EDK and see if she happens to have that.
Maybe
And again, she might be
picture of-
referencing a different different painting. But I said who it was donated by, I said who it was painted by, and she recalled in her mind that's where it was, and she was very, very specific.
Yeah.
And if you've ever met Leslie, she's really pretty on top of stuff. So
Was EDK the one that donated it?
it was her mother's. It was the
Yes,
family.
EDK and
What is that? EDIE or
Two words, EDID.
yeah.
and K.
Well, EDY and hyphen
Oh, she
KAY.
does
I
EY.
think it's a Y, yeah.
It's a Y.
No,
EDY hyphen
first
KAY.
name, what's that?
EDK.
Okay.
It's okay. We wanted to make sure we were saying it correctly.
So it's not Eddie. it's
Yeah, not Addie. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly.
Okay, let's move on to the piano search. I'm interested to hear where we are with this.
Well, basically, update from the last one that we had seen, which was the Columbine.
Yeah, Columbine.
That was built
Brand.
in September that
Yeah.
Cindy and William and I went to go see is, we reached out to Fred Goheen, who is our piano expert that had helped with the restoration of and now maintains the Steinway, to just get his opinion on the whole thing. And his opinion on that one specifically, which we also kind of shared, is that the wood wasn't really properly maintained. It was a little bit dried out. Well, actually, a lot of it dried out. And what we really wanted to look for was one that has already been restored.
Yeah.
And so he is in the business of that and is searching for one for us. Cindy's also continuing to look.
Yeah.
So
And
they
that
know
was
pianos.
a concern when I was pointing out the crackling of the varnish and some
Yeah.
of the things. On that note, his son Matt is actually going to come to my piano. So I think that's one of those things that I'm concerned about. The other question is, why is it would we not move Alice's piano back?
Oh my goodness, no,
No,
you don't just up and move a Steinway.
I know.
You know,
I know.
I
We wouldn't.
don't,
The question is, do we need another piano, or do we put Alice's piano back where
That
it
one.
was?
why was it
Wouldn't
moved
it be
in the first
easier to
place?
get
Does anybody
one
know?
moved
Because
and
it was-
pay for it to be moved into the house and
used
pay
for
for it
more
down the
the
stairs?
events
Oh, I don't.
and club stuff and recitals and stuff upstairs.
Have we had
That's my
recitals
understanding.
up
I
there?
wasn't here when that was moved, but that's
Okay.
from my research. That was the reason.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they
So
decided
it's a
it
pretty
up there.
severe reason. They were like, okay, we gotta move it upstairs.
Wow.
So
There were pianists that taught lessons here in Longmont, and their recitals were always upstairs.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, that's another
Mm-hmm.
side
Yes,
note.
it's a-
That's
yeah,
something we
it's
should look for club.
it's like recitals.
Speaking of which, I had a professional pianist that just did a concert for our Questers group, and amazing. I mean, that's another thing that we could reach out for, possibly getting people in for venue usage. But side note, I wasn't sure why it was moved originally, and if we're looking to replace it for the music room, why wouldn't we have it here? I didn't understand the logic of why it was moved in the first place. That was it. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we don't necessarily need a second piano. They're not being used that regularly. My thought about it is, the music room should have a musical instrument of some kind, whether that's the Steinway or something else. And to, in general, look for pieces, the furniture and whatnot for the house that are period appropriate.
And it could also be something that could be played, if we have someone playing, classical music
Yeah.
or something
So
during an
they
event.
do get used some, not on a very regular basis, but
So
But I don't
then
mean
it
a
co-
recital,
then-
I mean like background music.
Yeah.
Then it comes down to, do we need two pianos, or do we consider just moving Alice's piano back to the music room?
I would,
My gut tells me that would not be worth it.
I agree with that.
The
don't think
logistics
it's
of trying to get that moved
And then it would have to be
would probably
tuned
cost more
Cost us more than us getting a
than getting
piano.
another piano. Because getting that from up there down to here, I don't even know what it would take. I mean, but it would,
Gives me the cringes.
I think, just my gut tells me that it would be easier for us to just be patient and keep looking.
And Fred did
Feel
feel
like
that
we're
we would be able to find something that we're looking for if we aren't in any rush, which we're not.
No,
There's still.
I
like,
just
this will
was
have to be
rolling
moved
around
out.
the whole idea in my head of, okay, if we already have one, I don't know many places needs 2 pianos. That's my only thought process.
Yeah.
It's
Not
not
a
like
whole
we're set out, that we set out to look for one. It just kind of
it
Came
came
about
down
to
to
us.
us.
Yeah.
It is
Okay.
So I think the biggest thing that we needed to identify is if something that popped up seemed right was the dimensions, which I think we've identified, right? The dimensions are 2 feet deep, 6 feet wide, and 5 feet high. So as long as we know that and know the period that we're looking for, and we know, the quality that we're looking for, then it's just a matter of waiting. We're not in any hurry.
Yeah.
No.
It's just, if something pops up and it's ideal and perfect, then it's like, all right.
And it's really nice to have Fred on the lookout.
Yeah.
Because he's
He
looking
knows what he's
online
looking
too.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can save us a lot of trouble.
Right.
I mean, there's no hurry.
Brittany, would you send me Fred's information,
Sure.
please?
Fred himself is retired and he will look after our piano, but Matt is the one that's.
Oh, okay.
But I'll send you
I
the
need something
company
more.
information.
That's exactly.
Story.
But yeah, I mean, it is worth, bringing that up, Maureen, like, no, we don't necessarily need 2 pianos. The thought is to have items in the house that are period appropriate, and to have music in the music room. There are a lot of pianos out there, there are a lot of them for free. We may have trouble finding someone that's interested in taking this one out and paying to move it out.
Yeah.
So that's a consideration also, is if we're gonna pay to move a restored one in, and we can't find somebody to take this one, we might be paying to
Yeah.
move it out to be
Yeah.
donated if anybody wants it as a donation, so it's another
It's
consideration.
something to think about, but for just moving it out, if we get to that point, you might wanna call 1-800-GOT-JUNK. They move and take everything.
Mhm.
So I don't know what they would charge to do that.
Yeah.
They are very careful, so they would not be.
Well, that's really good, and I appreciate the
something
conversation.
to
It's
check
just, it came to mind and I'm thinking,
Yeah, we already have a period piece hit.
I had been looking at the picture and saying, oh, wouldn't it be nice if we had one that looks like this when we have the one upstairs?
Yeah.
So it was just a thought process, and I appreciate the input on it.
Well, potentially the cost of moving this one out and moving a new one in, moving 2 pianos, I don't know if that could end up being the same cost as moving the Steinway down, or.
I just, boy, it scared me.
Yeah.
I
will.
highly doubt it. Regardless, you're moving that piano out.
It wouldn't hurt to ask the person that takes care of it his opinion. Because he's the one that's refurbished it and taken care of it and knows all about it. We're kind of novices in this aspect. It wouldn't hurt to ask.
Well,
that,
my thinking is if it's moved upstairs because someone can do recitals and
Yes.
do for the space,
That's
if we're trying to get more people
for
through
those.
Club Affair to do these things,
Well, let's leave it.
I think
stay.
it kind of needs to be there.
Yes.
Okay.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in agreement then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again,
So definitely.
It was just
let's
a-
take that off the
Yes.
table
Right.
and stop talking about
Yeah, we've been
moving
talking
that.
about it.
I'm sorry.
Because it needs
Okay.
to stay.
Okay, let's not talk
No.
about piano.
We're-
Okay.
we're-
Okay, we're moving on. Item H, Callahan House membership program.
So there's a short blurb at the back of the packet here, just kind of outlining an initial, framework for where we potentially wanna take this. So yeah, kind of what you discussed.
is this something, okay, It's my mindset that this would be something that we would like to have in place prior to the club affair, so we have it in place so when people come in, this is an additional thing that they can sign up for.
Yeah, makes sense.
So this is an initial framework, so is this something that we should take home and digest and think about and add some thoughts onto this and then flush it out, bring it back to next month's meeting?
Sure.
I think so.
I mean, it was in the packet so that hopefully it was generating some ideas to bring today, but if we need more time to.
Is there a reason why we want to avoid using Friends?
Because the Friends program already exists and decided that we don't want to set it up as a Friends of program because that requires
Implies
an
that we
additional
have an
board who controls finances.
I don't think it does require additional board. I think that the implication is there. So I think it's good if we do.
You can call it whatever you want, but
If we could
the
avoid
city
that,
framework, the
is set up
Friends
that way.
become a money thing. That's what it is. That's what it exists for. Friends of Cal, Friends of Senior Center.
That's how it's set up through
Yeah.
the city
And so
currently.
we'd rather not see that term used, just something different.
So no, it's a different type of program.
So let's get our authorities
Right, exactly.
and check out every word for friends.
Or supporters.
Yeah.
Something like
Chat GPT.
Yeah, exactly.
I used it yesterday for
What was it?
Mission and Vision. The AI online.
Yeah.
Type something in. And
It comes
put
up
in
with stuff.
mission and vision parameters for recreation, and because we filtered and trying to actually make decisions, and then but you throw it in there and it will spit something out that's more clever, more eloquent,
Yeah.
and then you just make little tweaks to that. Actually, it worked really well.
Oh, that's
Which is,
interesting.
yeah,
Which is actually
That's
The
the
AI
fun to
is
do.
much more eloquent than I am.
It's really interesting. Yeah, I've been using that. My husband surprised me with a Valentine's Day present of going to Ireland for 2 weeks, and I've been using that to help plan the trip.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's something else.
So what I might ask if everyone would be willing to do is take a look out in to sourcing options as far as grants, and take a look and see what grant applications are asking for. Like specifically, for example, for History Colorado, they wanted to know what kind of community contribution the clubs were using the house provided. So there are going to be some specific highlights that organizations who are granting funding are looking to support. Let's see if we can encompass as many of those as possible.
You're talking about club affair.
I'm talking
About
about
this-
the club membership program because
Well,
Wait a
this
minute, I'm
is not
sorry.
going to be a club
this
membership
is not.
program.
This is not.
This is like
This is not what I'm
basically
thinking.
a
Oh, club
donor program.
I'm sorry. This is. I'm thinking club selection criteria. So I'm a little ahead of myself. Sorry, but I was thinking, yeah.
Well,
That's different.
is there any
Sorry.
specific people that you want to? So you're saying you confused the line item?
Yes, I'm actually ahead of us because I was kind of
Okay.
tying into club selection criteria, which is not this. This is the supporters.
Yeah, this
The
is.
membership program, we're going to give you more time.
But
to
it
look
did
it
make
over and
complete
we're
sense
gonna
what you were saying, that
It
grant
does.
applications are looking for
It did.
a partnership that we
Right.
It's
was
still valid, I
before.
think, yeah.
It still might.
You have information in regards to Historic Colorado. Are you wanting us to take on somebody else? Like,
I think everyone should take an opportunity
I
to
would look
learn
at
and see
SCFD
something,
really
yeah.
easily and quickly do that.
So
That's something
everyone
I'm
take a look
familiar
around
with.
and see, look into something.
Yeah.
And
Is there any, do we want to just all work on this and come back next month with ideas?
Sorry, are we talking about the club selection criteria?
No, it's the Callahan.
We're
membership
looking at
program.
the membership program.
The
We
framework.
combined a couple of things, but yes, we moved it back to the Callahan House membership program.
Okay.
And
That's
look
what we're
for
talking
potential
about.
organizations that
Right,
would.
that's-
Look for
yes.
potentials on how we should frame this so we get more grant opportunities.
But there may
Yeah, but about the organizations, what is that? What specifically are we getting from other organizations?
Well, there may be companies looking to help support.
Okay, so looking for potential partners, friends, whatever, in terms of companies, organizations.
Yes.
And what they're looking for and what they're willing to
Yes,
What
support.
they're,
right.
individuals,
What they're
absolutely,
looking for.
individuals, companies, all of the above.
Because that is something you can put on the grant, future grant.
Yeah.
The membership
It all
program
ties
would
together.
tie together, right? All right, so we're gonna take this home and work on it. All right,
Yep.
so,
Work in progress.
work in progress. Okay, that's the end of old business. We're moving into new business. Oh,
Tea or
Oh, sorry.
yeah, that's the one you wanted on there, Karen.
Yeah.
The
Valentine tea.
Are we good?
Tea report.
Tea report.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yes.
That was your answer.
Give us the tubes. Sorry.
No, it's no big deal.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it went really well. We had, so there were 36 tickets sold. We had 35 people in attendance, so one
That's
person that couldn't join. But
Yeah.
yeah, so everybody, it was from 1 to 4 this past Sunday, and Betsy was here to help with that, so I appreciated that. And
Oh,
they
that's
came and had tea and snacks. We had Shemaine's heavily discount some food for us, so that was much appreciated, so that we could, still make some money on the event. Shemaine's Bake Shop in Boulder. They had catered or not catered, but they provided the food for the board tea that we had last
Which was
October.
really nice.
Yeah, so that worked out
How do
well.
you spell that?
SHAMANES. And then we had Valentine crafting supplies upstairs, and I did like a little history of Valentine's Day in Europe and the Americas and whatnot,
Very
and some samples of collage Valentines, and everybody seemed to have a good time. I sent out a survey yesterday. Haven't heard anything back yet, but hopefully people will have favorable
Good
feedback or constructive feedback or whatever.
And
Right,
but
you just jumped.
What's that?
Were any photos taken of anything like
We
the
got a
Valentine?
few photos. Yeah, we were kind of running around in the beginning up until time, but I got some photos of the upstairs room full with people making Valentines and a few people at tea and
We
Nice.
should include those in the next month.
okay.
In the back, like, print some within the.
Karen's gonna-
Way to participate or jump at, anticipate what I was gonna ask, because I said, what was the feedback on it? Because
Yeah.
it sounds very exciting.
Yeah, hopefully we get, like I said, constructive or positive feedback.
It sounds lovely.
And yeah, I think that's all I have for that.
Okay, now we're gonna move on to new business. The Auto House revamp.
So yeah, that's just encompassing some potential storage for tables and chairs in the Auto House, and also just a little bit of an update. I think the kitchenette and bathroom area could use a few things to be a little bit more updated, and well, I say updated, but really it's like making them period appropriate.
Okay, good. I was gonna say,
Not looking
not like this
updated,
update,
but
renovate sounds
Downdate.
good.
Yeah.
Renovate sounds
Downdate,
better.
yeah.
Yeah, could we list it
Restore.
as restore or renovation rather than revamp?
Yeah, well, revamp is there because it's not meant to be like a large overhaul, restoration, or it's more just a few little things to
And I hate
make it seem a little more
Period appropriate.
and upscale for weddings and
I'm not sure when to bring this up,
Yeah.
but this is part of one of the things that we talked about when we were discussing the revamp is for storage for tables and chairs.
Mhm.
Do we really want to be purchasing tables and chairs? Or do we want to continue the practice of renting the chairs and then we don't have to do the maintenance on that? And we still make revenue off of that because there's
tables and chairs.
We're trying
Yes.
to go into industry standards and stick with do what other folks are doing, so that when people are trying to compare place to place, option to option, that they have a fair comparison, and that shows us to be that way.
So we need to have that as part of our inclusions, just in terms of, like Ben exactly said, staying current with other venues. And also the revenue, the net revenue that we bring in from weddings would be significantly greater.
Yeah.
So
Then
than paying for the rental of that.
Eventually it's gonna catch up and it's gonna pay for itself.
I mean, they'll be
so you're
paid
still
for
going
by,
to be charging for the tables.
it's
and chairs.
included in a package.
It's included.
Right.
So with the
It's-
package price, instead of, $1,800 or $2,000 of that coming out from us to then pay the rental company, that's just going straight into net revenue.
Rather than whatever the cost of the rental would normally be, and then adding the additional for maintenance for profit. You're saying it would be better to purchase the materials and then have to store and maintain and replace than to go ahead and build it into the package, renting it without having to maintain and store and replace the materials.
Yes, I mean, for net revenue purposes, yes, because the maintenance of those is relatively simple. Catering can even help with the cleaning process as part of their setup and takedown. And, we can get the auto house rearranged a little bit between upstairs, the downstairs, the garden shed. There should be plenty of room for storage.
And depending on what you purchase, there's really not that much maintenance to it,
No.
tables and chairs.
And yes, with the idea that some, will have to be replaced ongoing.
That's-
Usually it's, maybe
Yeah.
a couple chairs at a time over the years, but they would be paid for just with June weddings. So
How much would it take up, how much space would it take up from the house, or well, not the house, but the auto house, when we're hoping actually be able to show that and open it up more for open house events, and it's now sounding like it's
so
gonna be more.
I've moved the auto house around to, now that the oven is out, to have the side space where the oven was is completely open. So that's just an open space right now. So a storage unit could potentially go in there. Not everything has to be stored in there. A lot of venues have a garden shed type of a storage unit for tables. So not everything has to be stored in the auto house, but potentially a period appropriate storage unit could be built in there to kind of close that stuff off so you don't see it.
It's really, the ones I've seen are not unsightly and they don't take up that much space, really.
I mean, we've been storing tables and chairs in there, so if anything, this would just help to,
Makes it
I
more
think,
useful.
elevate it a little bit from what has been going on in there. Using it as the groom's cottage.
Right.
So,
Well, it's also used for clubs.
It has been in the
It has been used
past.
for clubs.
still
We're-
can be.
It's still.
We were hoping that we
Yeah.
could open it
I
up
think
for
you still
clubs.
can.
Honestly,
It's
I
something
think, the fact that there are tables and chairs and a PA system all being stored in there now, having an actual storage unit where those can be tucked away would be
Is
more
better.
appropriate
Clean it
even
out.
than it is now. So, and again, not everything has to go in there. We can get the basement cleaned out and some of the gardening stuff can be stored down there, then potentially the tables can be stored in the garden shed, and there's a
I'm
lot of
thinking
options
we
for
have
storage.
a fair area for storage possibilities that's not being utilized. I understand that. I'm just thinking over the overall, is it a good weighty choice about storing them and repairing it? Is it a long-term, for effective cost for us? That's one of the things.
Yeah.
And the one thing I
Yeah.
have to consider, I also put
Why
out
most
there,
venues are doing that now rather than renting.
I understand that, but this also gives the bridal parties different options on how to do setups and whatnot. I understand that. Is that going to limit us in that aspect?
We would get the most popular industry standard choice at the moment, and then if people wanna rent something different, they're certainly welcome to do so.
Okay.
I think they've done their homework and I think
Yeah.
know what they're talking about, so.
Yeah.
I'd say.
I mean, sounds good to me. Anybody else? Comments?
One last question, more than anything. Does the city already own tables and chairs that are used for different city?
Not that would be appropriate for this.
Okay.
More of an industrial.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think
Okay.
metal.
I was
just
metal-
trying to
metal-
tables
metal folding
and-
chairs.
Okay, I'm just trying to
Yeah.
cover all bases and make sure we're utilizing all the resources
Options.
we have.
Yeah, we have
That's a really good question.
300 chairs and tables at the memorial building, but they would not be appropriate for this site.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ben. And
Yeah.
we're moving on to club selection criteria and guidelines. Is that something that we can slide into club affair?
No, it actually
Is it
does
something
something
they separate?
Its own separate.
Okay.
And if it's all right, I would like to suggest, I would like to head that up. I'd like to lead that effort. And then I do think it will be all of us contributing. But it will likely be a separate meeting outside of our normal.
I would be more than glad to help with the club selection criteria since I actually am on a club that is here. Yeah, I would love to be part of that, Karen. I don't want to, again.
Is there club selection criteria already?
No, I think that's part.
So we're not reinventing the wheel.
We are no. Well, we're developing,
Tweaking the wheel?
we are developing one actually. We're developing a standard.
I think it's
But
standard
it's gonna be
statement,
based
so it doesn't
on-
look like there's any
It's going
discrimination.
to be based on what has historically been done.
Okay, that's what I'm questioning too, whether it's gonna be based on
Historics.
Yes.
historic
So
and what we have here in the house already.
yes.
Right.
So while there's nothing in writing, the objective is to put something in writing, and it will be very in line with what has historically been done for the house, and what we need to be open to ensure inclusivity.
Yeah, and that being said, basically, just about everything is the answer to that. But the idea, I think, for the criteria is that these are clubs that we're looking for, that we're hoping for, but
And I mean, if we have,
that we're open to anybody that is interested in using the house in an appropriate way.
yes,
Yeah.
and but this will give us the chance
Maybe
that,
not so much.
Maybe not.
and I'm gonna say when, because I'm optimistic, when we have 20 clubs beating down the door saying they want to meet here, and we only have room on the calendar for, say, another 7, then we have some criteria to then begin to look at and say, well, these clubs are really gonna be more in line with what we need to complete, proper community outreach and for this house.
I also think it helps, and I'm sorry to interrupt, I apologize. I think it helps in the sense that we have a standard form or standard information out there, so it looks like we're not being, it's subjective.
Yeah.
And the fact that there hasn't been one in place, it kind of opens us up for problems. I think it's important to have a policy in place, just like we were doing with the donation.
Yeah, just like the donations, it would be where your criteria might be things like the goals of the group, the club, you know, and,
How does the club support the community? How
Yeah.
does the club,
It also helps with grant purposes, then we can
There's
just
a lot
say,
of-
this is exactly what we're looking at, this is what we utilize.
And again, fall back on your grants, because the grants give you some guidelines too. don't they?
That's exactly
yeah,
right.
and that's why if you can kind of keep that in mind as you're looking at companies and at whom they want to partner with, the house as being a partner, not a friend, but a supporter of the house. Also look at whatever grant opportunities that they are offering and see, well, is there anything in there that we need to pay attention to and include in, when we're looking at a club, does the club fulfill anything in what their grant, kind of their ideal, who they're gonna give money to, it's gonna serve this purpose.
Okay, so we're gonna let you guys flesh that out,
Well,
okay?
I think I'll lead it, but I think I'll go ahead and, can we put this on for, old business for next month?
Mhm.
And we can then come up with a day that might be good for a meeting, a
Okay.
task meeting, outside of board meeting.
Okay.
Yes.
I do think it's not like we're recreating the wheel at all. I think it's about clarifying the wheel and then cleaning it up and making sure that we're on point and the information's accurate and it's non-changing.
And I'd like to see it happen
It
like to see it before the club affair
Yeah.
gets really
Absolutely.
solidified.
Yeah, it has to happen.
Okay. So we'll move that to old business for next time and
Setting
discuss a date
Yes.
and get moving on that. Okay, moving down to dates for open houses for 2024.
So we've done one in April.
Yes, we did.
And, well, at least, last year we did April, July, and September for the art walk, and then the holiday open houses. So I assume that
Oh,
works
that's it.
well, or?
This actually opens another can of worms of committee setup. We normally do that in the January meeting, and we didn't do that. We should
Committee set up for art walk?
particularly for our walk,
Okay.
to make sure that we have that in place, so we're covering that.
Start.
So
Maybe
you-
wants to form a
are you gonna
committee
lead
now,
art walk?
or?
Because I think that would be a good fit.
When is the date for our walk?
That's what we need to
The
decide.
14th,
14th.
September 14th, it's really late.
Yeah, it is.
So you're saying we need to get our name in there.
I think we need to get it set so it's working and we have people working on this. We definitely got the club affair and everything set, and I think that's great, but I think normally what we do, one of the things that we had worked on is in January that any outside tasks needed to be set up in January, so it was set for the year, so we know.
Okay.
That was,
I think Anne mentioned also that she has like a binder that she wanted to share with us, so
Yeah.
I can get that from her when I get her signature for the
that would be
annual
wonderful.
report.
That'd be wonderful.
Let me just
Um,
double check the schedule.
Do you want to chair an art walk committee then, Maureen?
I just wanna double check on the dates, that I am good to go.
I'm in Ireland or something.
I'm concerned that actually might fall on my niece's wedding. The 14th is a Saturday, correct?
Correct. Second Saturday in September.
That's gonna be a problem for me, because it's my goddaughter, so.
Well, I
would be
think a
willing to
lot
help
of-
with it, but I
Can you?
I could chair the committee, but the problem is I'm concerned that that day I will not be able to.
That's right, which is fine.
Once you've got it set up, we can make it
So-
run.
So, yeah, but can
I
you
think most
organize
of the
it,
work
can
is
you
like work
lead
ahead
it?
of time.
Yes,
Right.
it's done in advance, and then
Yeah,
the
that
day
day,
of,
they come
you don't
set
have
up.
to be present.
No.
It's,
Okay.
the rest of us
We'll
will
cover
be
that.
present, and
Okay, I'd be more than glad to, this is one of those quirk things that who knew that would be the day, but that's the day.
but all the work is done in advance, so
Right.
if you're okay with,
Yeah, I'll be more than glad to chair that, then, that for
We
our
will
walk.
cover your back.
Thank you, ladies, I
Gotcha.
appreciate it.
What time does that normally involve?
I'm trying to think last year.
It's
It was, it's afternoon.
It's evening.
Like,
Into
Yeah,
the
starts
four
at
to
3 or 4.
3 or 4, 4 to 7. something like that.
4 to 8, isn't it, something like that?
Yeah.
Something like that. We can,
It is
Nail that
really
down.
late, if it was, I was thinking it would be earlier than that, but
Yeah.
it's pretty
that
late.
is well, hopefully it'll be great weather and we can. set
Then
up
do we
outside
already
and do
know when
lunchtime
the
or
art walk
something.
is scheduled for spring then? Cause normally they set it
I
in
haven't heard
advance.
of anything.
You only do one.
They've been only doing one.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But now that COVID's opened up, I wasn't sure if they were gonna do a spring one in
have they
addition.
done that?
I haven't heard of that, I will look into that.
Thank you.
We used to do one in the spring and in the fall.
Yeah, the spring one was smaller, but
Yeah,
But yeah,
I'll find out.
but then COVID hit and everything went
Sure.
like this, so.
It wiggled things around.
so do we need to set the other open house dates?
Yes.
Yeah, April, July,
Yes, I apologize for getting sick.
would we set the December ones at this point?
Yes, please.
So April.
And I assume for December, we wanna do the same thing, a regular decor and a Santa. These are usually on weeknights,
First Friday, I think, usually.
or the April and July ones, have we had them on
And
Weeknights,
yeah,
yeah.
they have been.
yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's
That has
later in April, I don't remember when we did it last year.
food year.
Got it.
I'm gonna say I can pull out my. Alright, we did April 26th, a spring open house. Well, last year, I'm just giving you info from last year. We did a July 26th summer open house. Both of those had times from 4:30 to 6:30. Now remember, we decided after one that it wasn't long enough, it was 2 hours, just too much, too short. So we got to keep that in mind for time. Then the next we did was the September 9th art walk, and then we had December 1st Santa and December 7th open house. So, April.
So that was a Wednesday night.
Yeah. Seems
Previously.
like, was that the one that we had like
Was it
17 people?
Yeah, it
Yes,
was pretty.
yes,
Yeah.
which
That
I
was
don't,
really
and I
slim.
think in part it was that it was not publicized.
Not as much
Not
as
as much
it
notice.
normally
and-
would have been, yeah.
And so that's a problem we've got to make sure we don't have it in this year.
So the last Wednesday in April would be the 24th this year. Unless we wanna do like a Thursday night or whatever.
And the Thursday night is good too. I mean,
I don't know if that would be.
Wide open.
it might,
Potentially
it might be
have more
better.
people for some
Yeah,
reason.
maybe we try that this year. Maybe we
Why?
go for Thursday
Yeah.
night.
It's worth a try.
Yeah.
25th of
day?
April.
So April,
25th.
Is that going to be over?
April 25th
Is that
is
spring?
our open house.
And I think spring break is early this year.
Is early. It's
Spring
like
break's in
the
March.
first.
April's, yeah.
Yeah, it's March.
You're right.
Yeah.
With art walk? Would
So
you
that's
help
not an
me
issue.
do art walk? Would you help me do art? Sure, I will include you, but
Do we wanna just, July, do you wanna stay with another Thursday, or you wanna try a Wednesday, just for kicks and giggles, just to see if there's a day of the week that tends to be better, or wanna be consistent, just stay with a Thursday?
Well,
Thursday could be.
the 25th is the same in July, is that last Thursday.
Yeah,
The 25th of April, 25th of July,
let's do that,
just to maybe,
yeah.
just to get people's minds better.
And then the time for each of those, what should we plan for?
Did we find that the 4:30 was a good time slot, or was better for after work time?
You know, 4:30 can work as long as we go later.
Yeah, it's like 4:30 to 7:30.
Yeah, 4:30 to 7:30 or 4:30 to 8, you know?
could I make a suggestion? Could we move it to 5? I mean, I think people come after work. They come after work if most people work, so could we consider changing it to 5 to 7:30? Or is that
We
being?
did.
The only comment about that is it's supper time.
Yeah,
And
I was
if you've
gonna
got
say,
children, it's, I mean, you might come before that.
I
And
don't
you
know,
can,
like because we did hourly numbers for, well, I don't think we did for April. We did for July, because I remember having this conversation, it was like, is 4:30 better, or is 5 better
Right.
for?
Yeah.
But maybe if it's 4:30 to 7:30, then that encompasses.
It does open it up for
kinda
everything.
makes
all
that
of that.
nice, yeah.
Com-
and 3 hours isn't bad.
No, it's not.
4 starts
It's
to
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's go 4:30 to 7:30 for each of those, the spring and the summer open house.
And the dates are sent for the 20,
5th of April and 24th of July.
Okay, yeah,
So,
um,
cause it'll come out beginning of April, or.
yeah,
first
okay, so we can do say, or,
No, you can actually.
April
just put
one.
in The April date, yeah.
So I'm sorry, I'm gonna start to get that out so that the
the
public.
April one's gonna be in the brochure that's coming out.
Great.
Okay.
That will help a lot.
and Christmas is already set.
And then they'll also both be in constant contact, obviously.
So they didn't do it
Yeah.
yet.
No, we haven't done December yet.
And then
I got
September,
discombobulated.
can we pause for a second? Just going in chronological order. So September 14th is Art Walk.
Mhm.
And the time on that is going to be.
Dependent upon,
I think normally we do set up at 3 and then we run until 8 or
I think that, yeah.
Yeah,
I have 2 to 9 is when I was.
so
here last year,
they normally
Yeah,
come
it's 2
in
hours or so now.
and they set up at, we ask them to be here by 3. The event starts, I believe, at 4:30.
4, yeah.
4 to 8.
It's an hour.
Yeah.
I think it's 4 to 8.
Yeah,
PM.
so 3 to 9 would be, would set up and clean up time.
4 to 8 p.m. is the event.
Correct.
Yeah, 3 to 9 is clean up, set up and clean up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And now on to December, right?
And then December,
So the first Friday is the 6th,
correct.
and that was the
Is that the
Santa one.
Santa?
And then we did the other one a week
A week
later.
later.
What time was it? Oh, sorry. I'm jumping.
No, that's okay.
No,
it's
I
good.
said
You're
the same
not-
thing.
Right on.
So last year we did the open house one on a Thursday night because it was December 7th. We did the Santa on the 1st, which was a
This
Friday.
holiday lights will be on the
And-
13th and 14th.
Yeah, and then, so we need to probably be consistent, go with the 12th is the Thursday.
6th and the 12th.
Mm-hmm. Cause the Thursday, yeah, Friday is the 6th for Santa, and then the 12th for the open house is on a Thursday.
Well, we are thinking of some alterations to holiday lights. We'll see
Okay.
if we got hold of the date.
3:30 to 8 for the Santa open house, so it must have been 4 to 7, I think. That actually sounds familiar. Actually, I think we did 4 to 7:30.
7:30, I think, yeah.
That's Santa?
That's
That's
what we
Santa.
did last year, yeah, so we want
Yeah.
to do the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
4 to 7:30.
And so 6th and 12th.
Mhm.
That's on the 6th,
And we can set
That's
up
the
shifts as
Santa
we get
one.
closer.
so 4 to 7:30 on the 6th, but then what do we wanna do on the 12th? Because,
I think it was less, it was like 4 to 7 or
Yeah.
something like that.
Really well attended, but
Yeah, that one was really well attended.
well, I know it was well attended, I'm trying to remember.
So it
the
needs
time.
to correspond with the
Some
holiday
of it
lights,
was-
right?
No, the
They
12th is
want
fine.
it
No,
on
we did it on a
Yeah.
different night.
Yeah,
That's
I was
all.
gonna say-
It's
So that people
No.
don't
So there's-
choose.
There's nothing going on downtown on that
On
night.
that, on the 12th.
Thursday the 12th.
And we know how busy it was, that we would rather have that on something. where we
Right,
have some
yeah.
things going on, as opposed to trying to create.
trying to.
Do we already know when the holiday parade and all of that
Yeah,
stuff?
Yeah, that's
13th
what
and
it's
14th.
13th and 14th is all the holiday stuff. Okay. So then we should,
So are we gonna make it?
So the
4
open
to
house on the
7:30?
12th should be
Keep it
Time,
consistent.
that's
4 to 7,
4:30
to 7:30 again.
4:30 to 7:30, same.
Santa is 4 to 7:30.
4 to
Of course,
7:30.
it gets dark,
Santa is, but
so
Yeah.
you may
Yeah.
wanna even start, well,
A little earlier is okay, so
maybe
4.
earlier.
Four.
Seems like little kids, seems like the families with little kids came earlier.
yeah, they did.
that has to do though with how long, Santa
Can
can
come.
schedule.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. you
Well,
can't-
that's-
so
Santa
yeah,
will be the
for
same
5 hours.
as
I think-
last year, but do we want decor to be the same as Santa or the same as we did last year? So I think
we did the same as last year. It was really well attended.
4 to 7.
was.
Yeah,
As
Let's
long
do
as it's
that.
advertised from 4 to whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cause the lady that Sandy and I ran into had a
Yeah, it was,
brochure with it that said 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
We were
Well, now
walking
we're
out
in
at
connection
7.
with
yeah, we
15
said,
or whatever it was.
yeah, regular
Visits,
open house
so
was
that'll
4 to
hopefully be
7
better.
last
Yeah,
year,
4 to
so,
7.
but, And so are we staying with that, 4 to 7?
I think we should stick with that.
I disagree. I think we should stick with our standard times of every open house. We just do it from 4:30 to 7:30 and call it good.
I kind of think that too.
So
Anybody else?
then,
Always 4:30 to 7:30?
yeah, I think we keep it standard. So if
Except art walk will be different.
Art
Right.
walk's the only one that's gonna be different. But
Santa is
different,
It's
it's a different event
That makes
entirely.
sense, Marie.
It's not actually.
But it seems to me, if we have an open house, we should keep it a standard
Or
time.
7:30.
So all our open houses are,
4:30.
yep,
Okay.
Instead of jumping them all around.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just think it makes more sense.
It's happening.
Sorry.
That's okay.
No, it makes sense.
Everything's 4:30 to 7:30, except art walk, which is 4 to 8.
And Santa is 4 to
Santa-
7:30.
But again, Santa, that's not,
It's not
it's
a
not a
different-
open house.
No.
It isn't, and it's a
That's a
scheduled
reservation.
reservation. event.
Santa is
Santa
4
is 4 to 7:30.
So not the 4:30.
All open houses are 4:30 to 7:30. Art walk is.
Okay, and I think we did jump ahead. We should go back to November and we should schedule when we're decorating.
Ready?
Unfortunately, ladies,
I know,
I don't know
I
about
know, I
you, but my
understand
schedule
that.
gets booked up really quick, and if I don't have it on,
So now we're looking at November.
we're going back to November, and I
We
apologize.
can maybe schedule something kind of tentative, but
That's what I'm saying.
clubs changes
Let's
in
pencil
November.
it in.
We're also looking at, we have an artist that wants to do a like holiday market here
Which-
in November.
Which, if we need to shift it, we can, but let's get a tentative date on the calendar,
Okay.
please.
Well, when's Thanksgiving this year?
The 28th.
Oh, gosh, it's late.
Yeah, that's part of the reason I'm like going, gosh, guys, it's really gonna be weird.
Well, it does it need to be done before Thanksgiving or? Can we
I
do
think
it
This
on-
year we were a
Yeah.
little late, weren't we?
Yeah.
I think we might wanna look more at like, late October be too
I was gonna
early.
say, we
It's
used
too
to
early,
decorate
'Cause I
over home
think,
in October.
Yeah.
well,
Middle
I'm
of October.
thinking if they wanna do a holiday
It was still
market
nice out.
early in November,
Oh.
then we might need it done a little bit earlier.
If that's the case, if decorating earlier gets us more events in here, I'm good for that.
It doesn't matter. We're gonna do it one way
Yeah,
or
let me see
another.
when she was looking at doing it. They're wanting to have the market on the 3rd and the 10th of November. And it's like a holiday market, so we need to.
So if
decorate
that
before
was decorated, it would be appropriate.
So like, yeah, late October.
If we wanna do October, okay.
31st to the 1st. Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, we can do.
Halloween.
Yeah, I don't wanna do it too early, because I do wanna have stuff in October, like programs in October, so
Right.
that we don't want.
Yeah, we don't wanna get
It's
too
the first.
Yeah.
Is it Friday?
So yeah, like maybe the week of the
November
28th at
1st.
some point.
Could we do November
Or
first?
what about November 1st?
Sure.
The day, that Friday?
Yeah,
We could just
that's
come
fine.
during the day and do it,
Yep.
get it done.
I think it would feel weird to do it on Halloween.
It would.
Yeah, it would feel
It
weird.
feels really weird.
November 1st.
Just weird.
Yeah, well, and it also eliminates us from being part of an open house for, the haunted
We'll
house.
just have to, it'll have to be like complete that day, because we won't have any time to be
Nope.
like, oh, we'll finish these last few things.
Right.
But,
Yeah, we could complete it on the first.
Okay.
I think if all of us get here and do it, we can do
We
it.
can do it.
Well, if we have a plan ahead of time, it's not
Yeah,
gonna be
right.
hard to.
Yeah,
And we get the boxes down.
and it's not after,
set
like
trees
this
for
last
both.
year, we were like trying to do the luncheon and.
Right.
Oh, no, it was just too much.
So, yeah,
We'll
November,
just,
so what,
So
9
9
a.m.?
yeah.
to whenever.
Yep.
When we get done.
Thank you.
All morning.
I'm sorry to be so pushy, but
Yes,
No, it's
yeah,
good.
you are. Okay. Okay, I think we got that nailed down really well. All the open houses are 7:30, 4:30 to 7:30. And we'll arrange our schedules accordingly as they get closer. Okay, under new business, the oven safety check. I'm so glad we did that.
Are doing that.
Oh, are doing
Yeah,
that.
I'm still, so I
I
did,
talked with fire, I talked with Amy, and she was comfortable with where we were at with how we had it done. It was continuation from the previous one, but she recommended that we go ahead and get the companies, whoever the company service people in the area are, to just come and take a look, and which is fine. I'm glad to do that, but you've been working on that.
well, yeah, so I did actually hear back. So
Okay.
I just am waiting for the tech to call and make the appointment. But they have received the order, they've pushed it through their system, and so we're just waiting to get
So we'll have an
the
update
phone
on
call to set the appointment.
I do have to state, I am very disappointed in the oven that was purchased. I think it was poorly done. The fact that those burners are gonna be on all the time. The fact that it is a gas oven and it only had one rack in it.
It was previously a gas oven.
Is it no longer a gas
that.
oven?
No, it was
No,
replaced.
I'm saying-
It's like,
What we
gas
said
oven
before.
I know
what
it was
it
previously a gas oven, but I just think like to like, it really isn't like to like, because the old oven was a better oven than this one.
It was
in my-
purchased
in-
almost 2 years ago, so.
And I understand that, but I think for future, if we replace that item, we should have a much better, conversation about it, because it would have been better if we had an electric oven and a gas range. And the fact that the burners are gonna be on all the time, it increases the heating, air conditioning, it increases. It's just was poorly done. In moving forward, I understand that we can't afford to replace that oven currently, and I also understand that we had a issue with the installation and having the whole thing. Truthfully, it's been a nightmare about that whole thing. I just wish the board had more input on the choosing of the piece in the first place, because it just.
So with what we have, here's a question.
I would love to go to an induction instead, and just not have gas at all.
Do the
Yeah.
burners have to remain lit, or can they just be lit when it's time to be using?
We can ask the company, but it would be,
It'd be
for
hard
me,
to
it
do
would
that.
be,
Lighting pilots every
you
day,
have to
which I
have,
think is.
yeah, you probably have to have a professional do that.
Because of a safety issue.
It's set up as a commercial oven, and that was, because food is made here, it was bought as a commercial oven, and I know you understand all this stuff, but, and I'm not gonna sit here and defend that. Cause I agree with you, Maureen, but, it's what we got, so we'll just make sure that it's working properly in our minds.
I understand.
What we have,
Right.
making sure it's safe,
Yep.
making sure it's properly cleaned, because burners are not sealed, so I guess there's a process to make sure that it's properly cleaned, so we don't put a fire due to drippings and whatever. That's something to think about, just dealing with what we have, being aware of it, how do we properly clean it? What about the hood? Has it been cleaned?
What's the
When's last
maintenance
time
on the
it was
hood?
cleaned?
The hood, well, we can get somebody out to check on it.
Yeah.
The hood looks clean.
It looks
like
clean,
it's-
but I just think that this
And
is,
it's used so infrequently.
I agree.
But I get it should be checked annually.
That's exactly, I'd like to have it put on the maintenance list
Yeah,
of something
I agree.
that's done, because that's where most fires start. And for future reference in replacement of, say refrigerators or any equipment in the house, I would like that to be a board item that's looked at and that we're included in. I
The
understand,
cleaning of the hood?
not the cleaning of the hood, but the fact, the purchase of any appliances that are going to be put in the house, I'd like to be included on. I think it's important. I have experience in this, and maybe not all board members do, but I think we have interest in what's gonna be best for the house. And that's part of the reason why we're here as a board, to be an input board. And if we're excluded, it kind of circumvents what we're doing. I just think that if certain appliances don't need to be replaced and we're just replacing them to replace them, I question the sound quality.
But even in the
but-
process of if something has to be replaced, it's a good idea, many minds
Yeah.
come up with,
Bounce it off of
hey, think about
And
this,
see,
think about that.
the bouncing off the ideas and the fact, I understand the purchase has been made. I understand we're kind of stuck with it. I'm not happy with it. I just think it was a poor purchase.
And it was
Prior to
purchased,
your-
like I said, 2 years ago.
2 years
It's
ago,
been in the
and-
auto house this whole time. So.
And I understand that. And it has nothing that you can do or change it. But at a certain point, it will need to be replaced again. I just would like it to be included in the board decision. Yes?
Okay,
Karen?
since we're dealing with what we have, fire extinguishers, how many do we have in the kitchen? Maybe we should have 2 if we only have 1.
Sure. I mean, the safety committee comes and makes sure that we're up to par on all of that. They just did a check recently, but
I mean,
I think
and
safety
then
wise,
knowledgeable.
where
where it is or where they are. If there's a fire, we need to get it out quick.
Karen, I think we are actually doing that by doing part of the inventory and looking at the inventory and then seeing where the fire things are. And Brittany's really on top of making sure that the first aid kits and all of those are up to date and whatnot. That's not really my point. My point is I am requesting that we as a board be included in some of these decisions. That's it. And it's, again, the city will make a decision on what they choose to do, but I would like to have our input included. That's it.
Noted. Anything else on the oven? Okay, we're gonna move to lace, window balances, and library trays. And I sat there at my desk going, I don't even remember what they look like.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly,
I
but the
think
drapes,
they-
I'm like, what?
Yeah, so in doing the inventory, it reminded me, and it was Candy's idea, which is fabulous, that we need to get rid of the top so that people can see the beautiful windows. Have them restored and this beautiful protective glass outside of them, and they make this gorgeous
Statements.
view.
Especially the heavy ones in the
Yeah.
Yes, that's good.
library.
In the library, that's the one.
So removing all of the top lace things will allow, all of the beauty of that window to be seen. And, well, you can see it from outside, but you can't see it from inside.
Yeah.
And it's okay that we have these bottom
Yeah, they're fine.
coverings,
They're
they're privacy, that's fine. But then also, yes, in the library, the drapes are really heavy. And what we could do is scale them back. So it would take removing them and pretty much cutting a lot of it out, but kind of recreating it so that it, instead of being more like a real true drape, it's more like a little bit of a border.
More decor
that
than
kind
drape.
of accents. And it's like, look at this.
and then you
But
consider
does it
sun
cover-
exposure on that southern
That's
edge of
that's
the
what I was
house,
gonna
is you
ask.
wanna
What about sun
That's
protect
damage?
things from the sun. I do
Yeah.
agree about the top balances and,
Do you close the library?
But,
Do you close the library drapes? Yeah, they're never closed anyway.
no,
So it'd be more of some,
It's aesthetic more than
Yeah,
anything.
it's really not going to make any change, other than open up from the inside to be able to see.
And that was your suggestion, that we remove the lace so we can see the windows?
How many rooms have the lace balance?
I think everything that
Every
has,
room?
everything that has,
Yeah, but it's not just dining room and
and these are
music room, it's
not
other,
really hard
other
to
rooms
remove.
too.
No, it's that simple truth.
It's not gonna cost.
and we can open up the library
Mhm.
curtains, I mean, they can be slit open more too.
Or are they
Let's
too
try
thick?
that.
I was gonna say, I mean,
Let's
or are
try
they,
it and
is
see.
there too much material?
Right, so we have to
Yeah,
Well,
try
yeah,
it and
see
see.
how they do, but we do want some sun
Yeah.
protection.
Yeah.
Because
But
we
they
don't want
certainly don't need
sun
to be as heavy as
exposure.
they are.
Mhm.
So,
Well, I move that we consider the removal of some of the valances or the top curtains in the rooms based on whether we need sun protection or not, to expose the stained glass windows so we can see more of them.
Also,
Discussion? My question is the use of the word consider. I like to do it.
Well,
Considering it
I
right
would
now.
ask-
I'm just saying.
We also need to consider what
I
involves
don't wanna
that
be in,
curtain
I don't want
rod.
staff to be in conflict with a decision that you guys have made here when, in the end, it's our decision, so
Mhm.
and I would rather that decision be in a month after she has a little bit more time to look into, make sure we're
I
doing
see.
the right thing with protection and stuff like that.
That makes
I think
sense.
we're totally on board, for sure.
Yeah.
But let's make sure, cause I mean, I'm with you 100%, but even with the old ones, basically we had shaded windows, for lack of a better term, and now they're bright and shiny, and everything is clean. Well, that means more sun, and so.
And what damage is that gonna do the carpets and other things?
And so I
interior?
wanna dig into it a little bit more on our end, so table it for a month and let's do that, but I think we're on board, and we may just take something out.
So your motion to consider.
Consider
Yeah.
still.
Would be-
That works.
Yeah, I second that.
One more question about the tempered glass, about the exterior glass. Is it not light
R-rated.
rated?
I'm sure it's R-rated.
No,
R-rated.
but I
It's
mean,
not tinted.
no, not
No, but
It's not
tinted.
UV. I don't think it's UV rated.
UV is what I was getting
Yeah,
at,
that's actually-
I don't
because
think so.
Cause that
And
was,
is-
that's the damage.
is that a possibility? I don't know if they can apply it to the exterior of the glass or if it had to be done on the interior of the glass.
I don't know enough about that.
But that's something that could protect,
Yes,
and
I
it
wouldn't,
is clear, it doesn't have to
yeah.
be tinted.
So we do need to discuss this further.
yeah, I think it's another realm that we would wanna see where we're going here. And also, we haven't even gone into a season with the sun
With the
coming in
sun,
like it does, really,
exactly.
so, since it was August, end of August, and the sun's already pretty high,
But
Right.
or
But
getting down low.
couldn't we at least
Honestly.
consider removing the ones,
I would
particularly?
take this one down today.
Yeah, on
Yeah,
the,
for sure.
on the northern windows,
Yeah.
that we do not have the sun injection.
That's what I said, we're on board, so
Okay.
we'll just
Let's
start,
table
we'll just
that.
start doing it.
So to completely table
Yeah.
the
Let's
discussion.
table this discussion and
in the meantime, if we find out that we're
there
good to
you
go.
Let's just, and we'll just start doing it, cause everybody's on board.
Right.
So they can kind of find ones.
Okay.
Is that okay with everybody?
Yes.
I don't know if there's any question and that it's not going to be okay and that there needs to be more protection and that it can't happen with the glass on the exterior. Then could it be that for events, that the top bar be made so that it is
Easily removed.
easily removed? Yeah, a little spring loaded something so that it's easy for events. We can just take that down, tuck it away and then have the event. Windows are all exposed.
Again, I'm
And
also
then you can pop that back up as needed.
concerned about staff time, that's a lot of time.
But
to do
it's just that one
particularly if
room
you're
that
trying to
has
get
the
it ready for
heat
events.
rates, right?
Well,
There's-
let's,
Yeah, everything else
But
is
anyway,
like-
some-
Okay,
some
we'll
thoughts.
just
Some
talk about
thoughts.
it, yeah, that's, yeah. Okay, moving on from new business, items from staff, and
the grass, where did we leave that with Ryan? I think we were having to push that off with the pressure they're seeing with the grass,
Not that
right? Till fall
we
was
were,
kinda,
but
I thought that's what he needed.
I haven't heard anything about it other than
Well,
following
what-
up to see what the news
So we had
is.
wanted to work on the grass this spring.
Right.
And we have a plan with golf. Well, Twin Peaks is having their irrigation replaced,
oh, that's big,
which is,
huge.
it's something else. So I'm
Not,
really concerned about their being able to commit the time, because that's obviously a huge priority. They've got to regrow grass, because that's been, while it's done very neatly, it still leaves a mess. And so I think we'll probably be pushing that off till trying for the fall growing season on that, which we'll see. We're on board, he's on board, we got a plan. I thought that's what he said.
I hope, I understand what you're saying and I understand the logistics, but I also am concerned that the gardens look for the best, particularly if we're considering a video, that we can achieve, the best that we can.
Strictly talking about grass.
Yeah, I know, so yeah, it affects everything, I understand, I am just disappointed, dang it.
Well, we'll,
Do the best you can, I understand
Work
that,
in progress.
thank you for the information.
Yeah, okay, at least we know where we stand.
I'm just not sure, and it's always not sure with the weather and stuff, it's just.
It is what it is,
And
well,
those
cause
guys have
Call.
So,
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Are there any items from the board?
I have some staff items.
Oh, we have staff items.
Sorry.
Pardon, scoot back up.
Sorry, your staff, so
Yeah. Oops.
I think everybody kind of saw.
I did want to
Really
compliment
did.
that. Congratulations on that. That was fabulous.
Right. Yeah, they did a good job. And there's nothing wrong with this light. We just need to get the bulb put back in. And then the entryway also,
That's great.
the exposed, where the foam came off, and so they had to patch that, and they did the paint job. It looks pretty flawless. So.
I was gonna compliment you. You're just ahead of me because the board comments are afterwards.
Yeah.
But yeah, congratulations.
Yeah.
It looks
Yeah,
amazing.
finally.
Got done.
That's great.
Very well done.
It looks really good.
They're still trying to figure out a plan for the upstairs light sconce in the
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
living room, but so.
But it's on the.
And there was some some of the little wood chips and things like that have been replaced also. So
Brittany, congratulations and thank you for all your hard work. That was just amazing.
it was Empire, but
still,
thanks.
Still.
you got it. You got it arranged. You got it done.
You got it done.
Got it done. That's huge.
Okay.
And then the other update I have is we're currently in the process of a deep cleaning that's been going on. It's done. The city is doing it. Every Saturday in February, someone's been here doing a deep cleaning of the house, which is really great. And we met with them, a couple weeks ago before the project started to go through everything, and I'm really excited about the work that they're doing. And then moving forward, custodial is going to be here on a bi-weekly basis instead of just weekly. So excited to just kind of have the deep cleaning done as a reset, and then have somebody here twice a week. Doing the general cleaning and keeping up on all of that. So
Yeah.
Question
We were approved
on I'm sorry.
We were approved for, I think it was 3 new custodians citywide. And
Wow.
we had added a custodial manager last year, which I have mixed feelings about as far as control of that system. But in the big picture, more custodians is good. And so it's allowing some flexibility.
Cool.
Which is great.
Question, any concerns that has been raised by the deep clean of anything that we need to be taking care of or considering on?
no, but I don't imagine that would probably be the case. I mean, this person's not looking for
You just never know.
facility damage or things like that. But if something comes up, we'll certainly address it.
Okay.
So they're kind of starting from the top down.
Yep.
So yeah.
Perfect. That's great news. Okay, that's it.
That's good.
Now, items from the board.
I have a couple.
I have 2 things to share. Kristen Kennard passed away February 5th, and she was the wife of Dennis Combs, who was our mayor. Kristen was invited to be, as the mayor's wife, a part of the board when he served.
Right.
And she said, well, sure, I'll be on the board, but do I have voting rights? And we said, no, because you're the mayor's wife, you're just a token person here. And she said, well, then I'm not gonna do it, I'm going to run for the board. So she interviewed for the board and served on the board, I don't know how many years, but anyway, she was a very sweet person. And so, just wanted you guys to know that she passed away. And if it's okay, I will take one of the Callahan House cards that we have and write a note to her husband from us as a board.
I think that's a wonderful idea, and honestly, I was gonna suggest that. In addition to that, I would like to do a congratulations card for the baby as well from the board.
I can get you cards as soon as we're done.
Okay, we'll do that.
The baby board or secretary or?
Well, I'm gonna do this.
Would you do a card from the board for the new baby?
I
As
can do it.
secretary or whoever wants
I'm
to do
glad
it?
to do it.
Okay, that would be wonderful, thank you.
Karen, you're doing it?
Yes.
My hand raised.
And then the other thing I wanted to share, you had mentioned about wanting to do the upstairs tree for Santa Claus when the kids come with golden books. And I have golden books and I have more at home, so anyway,
Wow.
these will, I'm going to, I don't know if you, I'm gonna keep them at home.
Oh,
But I will
yeah.
bring these books and we can decorate the upstairs tree with golden books. And then keep an eye out, please. at flea markets and secondhand stores and things like that for these little characters. And we can use these are Sarah's, her great grandma made them, but
Yeah.
anyway, this would be kind of fun to decorate the tree then with.
That
things
would be
like
wonderful, and I did pick up some ornaments last year, actually from Target, that were book themed, that were, had, the Little Red Riding Hood and, now I'm blanking on the various different themes, but that are felt like that, and I would like to donate those to the house.
Cool.
So we can make anything that needs to be donated needs to go through the process that we've created. So it'll have to be voted on, but you know.
So are you donating the books too, or that comes and goes?
It could just be a loan.
Just a loan.
She'll just bring them, just decorate.
And
then
the same with the.
Because I'm gonna give you to add to whenever you go way up to the attic.
Okay.
Just something we can use. They're glass, red ornaments, so
Okay.
they could be used somewhere.
I've been looking online and stuff and trying to look at things that are deep discount at it as well. So is there anything particularly for the trees that you're thinking that we need?
I don't think so. We have, you know, even extra items that we didn't use this year, so I don't want to overload necessarily on holiday items, but there's something that is period appropriate that makes sense for historical aspect of sharing Christmas during the era of the house.
Well,
Yeah.
doing the inventory, we did find more Christmas items that were down in the basement.
Pile that's set aside is items that we're considering donating.
Okay.
So
Okay, I wasn't
so
sure.
I
what it
don't
was.
want to, like I said, overload with holiday decor, but if there are things that are appropriate to add that are, you know,
I did want to
the era.
bring up from the board, when I was downstairs doing inventory, I did notice that we have a fair chunk of damage from, I believe, ants on the doorways, and I did point that out to you. So that needs to be included in our repair list. Maintenance. I'm concerned on how thorough those little working ants have been going through the door frames down in the basement. And if we have an issue with that, we need to get ahead of it. There was a fair chunk of little crumbles down below where they've been eating the wood, and if we need to, I don't know, do mitigation or it doesn't look like, I think they're ants.
There's some sort of critter that's eaten.
Yeah, but it's going through similar to a termite, but I'm concerned.
Yeah, everybody come take a look.
Karen had a couple of items.
Well, the one was the same thing about Kristen Kennard, because I've been served on the board with her, lovely nursing stuff. But the other was, I wanted to ask you all if you would like to have a little snippet of history, or one or two pieces of snippets of history about the House of the Callahans shared with you at every board meeting. It came to me that, you know, there were things, and Cindy even mentioned, she's like, what? I didn't know about that after the PEO presentation. And I just thought, you know, this is something that could be a good opportunity to share a short little snippet about history about the Callahans. And if you're interested in hearing something, of course we
I think that's great, because the more we learn, the better we're gonna be at serving on the board.
Yeah, let's just add that to our agenda.
So you want me to share one little thing with you right now, which is
It
kind
can
of.
just be on items from board.
Yeah,
Or
items
just
from
be,
items from
uh,
board.
Something we do.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah,
it's,
I think that'd be great.
it's the historian's say. So there's an interesting fact about the second floor apartment that they lived in above the house when the Callahans lived there. On October 1895, little 19-month-old Raymond fell from one of the second story windows onto the stone walk. It was a vertical drop of 18 feet. And the Callahans quickly called a doctor who found that Raymond's injuries were limited to painful bruises.
Wow.
Yes, divine intervention. But
Yeah.
basically, that accident is what prompted them to begin looking for a house.
Oh, wow.
That, and then their intent to begin to entertain a growing circle of friends. But that one was the scare where I think, I can't live above the store anymore.
Wow.
So this was above their business downtown.
Yes.
Do you have the address of that business?
Yes. Well, it was in the 300 block of Main Street.
Yeah.
I have the picture.
We
And that's the one that I had held off and did not include at the end, but I can in the PEO presentation, but I can certainly share that with
I wonder if downtown has one of those
It has the golden rule little song.
things out in front of it with the history that you can snap your phone and PR, what is it? QR code.
QR code.
You know, I remember we did the QR codes during an art walk many years ago, and that was our intent, and that's why we did spend a lot of time. Do you remember that? Oh, going over to the
Right, but the
museum
city did
to get
follow
information
through.
about the dates and times, and I think, yes, but does the do they have QR codes on
Downtown?
all of the buildings downtown,
Yeah,
or all the
EPA
historical?
thing, so.
Yeah.
The
No,
third-
it's-
Between the 3rd and 4th block
I know they have
of Main Street, they do,
historic markers.
both sides.
Okay.
Right out in front of the buildings on the sidewalk, and you can just
click
take
it.
a picture
Oh,
of it and
that's
it tells you about
I'll
that
have to
building.
go there. It would be on the west side of Main Street.
It was on the west side.
So,
Would that be something that we could include in our little snippet that goes out monthly from the Callahan House? Be sure to go and look at the downtown where the building was and their QR code. Would that be something that we could
That
have?
was, yeah, the constant contact, if
Yeah.
anybody wants to create content for that, it's always open, so.
I would put that historical thing in there.
it's
I
just
heard
kind
that
of
too,
a-
yeah.
Yeah,
it's
cool.
That's what I'm thinking.
It generates interest.
Generates interest
It's
and
like,
then we could put the address and, yeah, that'd be great.
What's the mailing that it goes in, or?
Constant contact.
Constant contact,
it's an email that comes out every Thursday.
okay.
That'd be great.
Yeah, so that was, the idea was that I'm putting together content for events and things like that, but if there are snippets or historical pieces of information, that you all can create the content and submit it.
If the content's already been created by Karen sharing with the board, then that could be taken care of. That'd be great for
It
at
would
least
be
one
that
week.
piece of information.
Yeah, but if you wanna submit something with a photo or, written digital content,
That would help
then
any
you
of
put
it.
that in there.
Okay, we're moving on to future agenda items. There are none listed. Does anything need to get added?
When do we review for next restoration, preservation project? Not that we're doing it right away. But when do we need to review that list that's created
Well,
and
let's see, I
identify and
retire
say?
in 4
Right.
years and 2 weeks.
There you go. But when do we need to take a look and say, you know what? Okay, this one we probably need to put in for CIP, for the capital improvement code. But
So
this one we could do.
budgetarily, budget requests for capital items, we start putting those in at the end of March.
Okay.
So if we have any ideas on things, now again, right now we have the brick pointing in there, which is a big one.
Yes.
But if we want to back it up with something else, right now, Harold's he's not big on new things going in until some things are able to get done. However, that doesn't mean we can't try. So,
We can at least identify.
so that's the timeline.
Could we consider then in next month's meeting,
Yeah.
the list, and we can then say, identify the one that is like our next on the wish
Sure.
list, so
Yeah.
to speak. So we can say, here's our
Our
first one,
priority.
we would probably say, but if the city can't do that one, maybe this one, and it might be a lesser cost
Might
item.
not be a big
Like,
deal.
yeah,
That's
like-
not usually how that works, but we have other small things. We have other funding opportunities in PB 145, but that's a 5-year out. But we have some flexibility with that as she's starting to learn on how we do things. So if things that are in the $1,000 to $10,000 range are things we can consider in a different way. But I would say now would be the time to consider anything, because if we want to try to put it into CIP, then that I'll be doing that in April. So,
Okay. Well, could we put it as a discussion item, on the agenda? So we have a better understanding And maybe when we look at projects differently and we can say, okay, we're gonna look at budgeting it here. So we as a board have a better understanding how the city is approaching this.
Yeah, if you want to throw some budget in, I will be glad to talk about that next time.
Beautiful.
And we can also, that idea is then bring them, or if we already have ideas, we can do. I have to, I'm sorry, I got a two meeting in there. We'll be redoing Roosevelt in a way, the park, so.
Oh,
Well, don't think so big.
don't think so.
Okay.
Okay.
Think some rose garden area, some playground area, stuff like that.
I was gonna say the giraffe barn's going.
Not not big stuff, but nevertheless, I wanna make sure I'm involved in that, cause that can go sideways on me.
Thank you,
Bye, guys.
thank you, Ben. Okay, so can we add to the new business for March? Reviewing the maintenance renovation list.
And maybe
And
selecting
identify
a
some-
second wish.
Yeah.
Identifying, maybe that kind of
Some item or two that,
that. And then
what our priority looks like
Yeah.
next.
Because if
Next
we're asking for the moon and they're just not going to give it to us for another 5 years, why don't we ask for a star instead?
You're right.
You know?
Yeah,
And one
they can
star,
say no, but.
1 star a year, we're making
Right.
progress. And the other thing is that we do have funds in the Callahan House
Yes, we do.
Fund, 85,000. So there's funds that can be
If there's
used
something,
for restoring
The
for
chairs.
replacing the leather on the chairs.
Yeah, that's actually, so this project, the Questers,
Oh,
multiple chapters of Questers are interested in coming together to donate some money for
Awesome.
that.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, we just need to get a quote for it.
It's considered that we're actually looking at it as a state project, that we would consider redoing this. So.
Yeah, but the point is, outside of CIP and PB 145, there is other money available for things that need to be done.
Yeah, and that's why we have
that's why we have the
That's why
list.
we have the list, it's also why we have the fund, it's why we're promoting people to donate to the fund, to continue to maintain and restore.
Yeah.
So I'd like us to not get, okay, we did this massive restoration, which was massive. We don't need to do anything for another year. No.
We need to keep on top
What's
of it.
one more, at least little thing that we can get done and
Yeah.
accomplished, and showing that we're continuing to use this fund and continuing to restore and maintain the house.
Thank you, Karen.
Anything else? Okay, we're moving to adjournment. Entertain adjournment.
It's
We adjourn.
10:56.
10:56. Perfect. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody object?
Leave